Yuta faces Maki with a wooden practice sword. Maki takes him on with a bow staff as Panda and Toge watch on. Yuta is strong, but Maki is noticeably faster and more agile. Maki lands a blow when Gojo inadvertently distracts Yuta, then finally takes him down. Yuta asks if it was necessary for her to be so brutal during practice. She tells him that he should treat it like a real battle, and that receiving pain or not, makes a difference in how fast he will grow. He gets up and challenges her again. Panda and Gojo discuss Yuta's maturing over the past 3 months at Jujutsu High. Toge agrees. As Panda notices Maki's changes in behavior, he realizes that she hasn't been able to spar with another weapon user. He calls out to Yuta and asks him if he prefers big or small breasts on a woman. Embarrassed, Yuta says he likes them somewhat big. Panda excitedly calls out to Maki that she has a chance. Maki is furious and has an argument with Panda off-screen. When Yuta asks Toge what the commotion was all about, Toge just says, "Kelp," and turns back to them. Not understanding, Yuta begins to worry about Toge's character, being that he is so reserved and never speaks like a regular person. Gojo returns with an assignment for Toge, telling him he was specifically requested. Panda explains to Yuta that Toge is the only grade 2 sorcerer among the first years, which permits him to go on missions alone. Yuta is impressed by the status, and Maki thinks to herself how Yuta still doesn't realize he is more powerful as a special grade. Gojo assigns Yuta to go with Toge to observe the use of curse speech as a means of exorcising curses. Gojo reminds Yuta that, in order to break curses, one must learn to understand them. While waiting to be taken to the assignment, Toge accidentally startles Yuta when greeting him. Gojo tells Yuta that he won't be accompanying them since this is a mission Toge should be able to do alone. He only warns Yuta not to let Rika out, and only use what power of hers is imbued into the sword. He tells him if he lets her out, they will both be killed. Yuta and Toge are dropped at the Hapana shopping district, a mostly abandoned area being considered for demolition in order to build a mall. Kiyotaka Ajichi debriefs them on the assignment. During inspection, several low-grade curses were found in the shopping center, and Toge Inumaki was requested to exorcise them. When Yuta notices Toge is absent, he suddenly appears from the corner store with a small bottle of throat spray. Yuta walks with Toge in search of the curses. They notice a group of curses manifested as a school of talking fish swimming together into a vortex. Yuta recalls Maki's advice that weaker curses tend to group together. Yuta feels that even this many curses, whatever grade, would be impossible to take out in one fell swoop. Toge lowers his scarf, revealing the tribal markings on his face and tongue as he calls out the curse, "Explode." All curses immediately pop simultaneously and fall to the ground. Yuta asks if that was all they needed to do. Toge replies, "Tuna mayo," with a scratchy voice. Yuta realizes the necessity for the throat spray. He is amazed by Toge's power but understands the cost that comes with it. The veil does not drop, and the two grow suspicious. A powerful curse appears behind the two as a man watches on unseen by them. Toge attempts to break the curse's left hand by calling out, "Twist," but the effort is too much for him, and he collapses to the ground. Yuta saves him from an attack by the curse, and carries him away, dropping the throat spray in the process. As they consider their situation, Yuta deduces that they will need to exorcise the stronger curse in order to drop the veil. Toge tries to go on by himself, but Yuta relents, thanking Toge for his honesty and enthusiastically joining him in the fight together. Yuta engages the curse with Rika, allowing her cursed energy to be imbued into the blade. Yuta is able to dodge the curse's attacks while he considers Toge's power and why he only speaks in rice ball ingredients, so as not to speak words that carry curses. Yuta picks up the throat spray where it fell. As he takes a hit by the curse, he throws Toge the throat spray, which he immediately drinks before calling out to the curse, "Get crushed," fully exorcising the curse. Yuta and Toge high-five each other in celebration of their mutual victory. Yuta considers that, once he breaks Rika's curse, he may become an ordinary person. While thinking about how he wants to be useful to everyone, they come back to their prior issue. The veil is still up. From afar, the mysterious man from the elementary school monologues about how he was hoping to see the Rika curse, as he too is special grade. While Toge waters plants back at the school, Panda discusses his power in more depth with Yuta. Toge was born with cursed speech. As a child, he would sometimes curse people without meaning to. Since Yuta seems to have a similar problem, Toge has been worried about him since he transferred in. Panda asks Yuta to be kind to him, which surprises Yuta, as though he would be anything else. Maki calls Yuta away to train with her and Panda laughs at her obvious flirtations. Yuta tries to deflect by asking Maki her advice on imbuing Rika's cursed energy into the katana. Maki tells him not to ask her about cursed energy. Yuta is shocked by her response, though Panda's expression is understanding. At the shopping district, Gojo is given a report on residual curses left after Toge and Yuta finished. Gojo investigates for himself and immediately notices a scent before taking note of all the property damage. He looks up to where the man had been sitting while watching the boys and recalls Ajichi telling him that a second veil was dropped on top of his, and the stronger curse that Toge and Yuta exorcised was semi-grade 1. Ajichi scolds himself for not being more prepared, but Gojo dismisses it as he was simply outclassed. Ajichi asks Gojo if he knows who did it. In a classroom, the mystery man is shown in front of 3 banners that read love to the strong, punishment to the weak, death to fools. Gojo narrates that he is Suguru Geto, a special grade curse user who was expelled from Jujutsu High along with 3 others for cursing over 100 normal people to death. Gojo calls him the worst curse user. At Geto's home, a woman anxiously waits with her mother for an audience with the man. Geto sits leaning on a small stool while he describes the young woman's problem. He can see the curse which she cannot, and it is constantly touching her physically. Geto manages to remove the curse and manifest it into a small sphere that he catches in his hand. The young lady immediately feels better and takes her leave, praising Geto with her mother. As they leave, Geto refers to the women as stupid monkeys who cannot use Jujutsu. His assistant warns him of his hubris as she reminds him of his meeting with the leaders. Geto sprays a deodorant to take care of the monkey smell before going inside. As he gleefully follows his assistant, they are approached by another customer who is very frustrated with Geto's failed exorcism of his curse. The assistant confirms that the customer has paid over 105 million yen, but made no donations for 6 months. Geto turns to the customer and explains that he is a money-collecting monkey, and now that he has run out of money, there is no more use for him. Geto swallows the sphere from before and snaps his fingers. A group of small curses suck on the man's face in different areas until blood splatters on the wall in front of Geto and pulls closer to his assistant's feet. Disgusted, Geto turns to her and reminds her that this is why he calls them monkeys. Geto enters a room and meets with the leaders, a group of his own kids with whom he plans to build a paradise for Jujutsu sorcerers, starting by declaring war on Jujutsu High. At the school, Yuta gets a bad feeling, but it is dismissed by his classmates, as Gojo and Principal Masamichi Yaga watch on. Gojo reassures the principal that he is positive it was Suguru Geto. Knowing he is on his way, the principal angrily departs and orders all senior sorcerers to meet out front. Maki, Panda, and Toge realize that Yuta's intuition was right as they notice a curse in the form of a 4-winged pelican that drops off Geto and his gang. Geto immediately rushes to introduce himself to Yuta. He attempts to persuade Yuta to his cause, but is interrupted by Gojo, accompanied by the principal and the rest. To taunt him, Geto calls out Maki as her clan's failure, which she doesn't take well. Geto warns her that the world he envisions doesn't need monkeys like her. With that, Yuta decides that he cannot side with someone who insults his friends. Geto attempts to apologize, but is interrupted once again by Gojo, demanding the reason for his presence. Geto announces to the school that on December 24th, he and his gang will conduct the night parade of 100 demons in Shinjuku, Tokyo, and Kyoto. Geto threatens the students with several curses one last time before departing with everyone. In a flashback, we hear Geto discussing his vision for Jujutsu sorcerers in which they are the protectors of non-sorcerers. Gojo disagrees with his philosophy, considering it righteous. In a crowded scene, Geto asks, "Are you the strongest because you're Satoru Gojo, or are you Satoru Gojo because you are the strongest?" Geto suggests that if he were as strong as Gojo, his ideals would suddenly stop seeming so righteous, and decides to go his own way. Gojo makes a gesture in his direction as he walks away. Afterward, Ajichi presents a report on Geto, revealing that his operation is set up as a sort of religious organization to help cure people of curses. They correlate his potential strength with the declining trend in the number of reported curses in recent years. Ajichi confirms that it is likely Geto is in possession of over 2,000 curses, as he warned when visiting. Yaga figures the curses would have to be mostly weak in order for him to possess that many. He thinks there could be as many as 50 sorcerers on Geto's side by now. Gojo doesn't see why Geto would try to start a war he couldn't win, and Yaga orders a call for aid to go out to all alumni, the 3 major clans, and the Ainu Jujutsu Society. Meanwhile, Geto laughs as he mocks the principal's reaction to his team.